On Fanalysis, we take the stats born in fantasy football combined with the latest betting trends to find you the sharpest angles every week. And that's where we turn to the lead betting analyst from Pickswise, Jared Smith. Jared, the Jets, they're getting the shortest odds that they've seen all year. 3.5-point dogs on the road in Pittsburgh. Does it scare you to put skin in a game where you really don't know what the offense looks like with Zach Wilson?
Yes, absolutely. I think this, so when I do my scans every week, obviously the Jets and the Giants being, first of all, being a Jets fan myself, and of course, just, my overall connection to the New York City area, they always get a little extra attention. When I looked at this line, I didn't know what to make of it. I cannot lay with Mitchell Trubisky and the Steelers. I cannot. Like, that is a hard and fast rule right now. So immediately I look to the Jets to see if there's value there at the 3.5. And then I see the news on Zach Wilson. And to me, the unknown variable with how he is going to perform makes this game, in my opinion, almost impossible to bet. Now, what I will say, I think the Jets defense deserves a little bit of credit. I think they've been playing maybe a little bit better than what some of the numbers are telling me. The numbers are telling me they're a bottom 5 defense. But I do think the rushing defense, and I think Quinnen Williams, I think the secondary, which is graded out well with their blanket coverage with the 3 guys in the back, I think the Jets defense can keep them in this game. But I'll be honest, I have no idea what we're going to get from their offense, and I have no idea how Zach Wilson's going to look. Didn't play in the preseason, hasn't played in the last few weeks. Garrett Wilson has been the obvious, explosion point for this Jets offense. I hope that rapport continues because Flacco certainly loved them. But I just don't know what we're going to get. And I would rather pay for the information, watch a week with Wilson, digest what we see, and then look to attack the following week's line.
Well, 84% of the money is on the Jets. Also, the over-under is at 41.5. It's begging you to go with the over at 41.5, isn't it? But then again, when it goes low, you kind of almost want to go lower.
Yeah, I mean, the Steelers' defense is outside the top 10 right now in EPA per play. And I wouldn't have guessed that, especially considering their opponents early in the season were a little bit, I would say frisky maybe at best. But I don't really trust the Steelers' defense a whole lot either. And especially without Watt there on the outside. So there are some really positives. I think that if the Jets go into Pittsburgh this week and they find themselves on the plus side of maybe the spread or even, the final score, I think this is one of those moments for Robert Saleh where he can hang his hat and say, listen, we just went into the Steel City and got ourselves a win, or at least kept this game close. This is one of those put up or shut up kind of games, but I don't know what we're going to see with Zach Wilson, and that's why it's a stay away for me.
All right, stay away from that game. How about at MetLife Stadium? The Giants are 3-point favorites against the Bears. Both teams 2-1. But it kind of feels like both teams won with smoke and mirrors because both of these offenses are bad, which is why the over-under is at 39.5. Does anything interest you in either the spread or the over-under here?
So it looks like to me, from my eyes, Justin Fields, besides Baker Mayfield, who we talked about in our best bets segment, Justin Fields might be the worst quarterback in the league right now. At least the completion percentage over expectation tells me that. Now, the one thing I will say positively about the Bears, they are first in the NFL in pass block win rate. And if you were going to ask me of all the teams in the NFL going into the season, I'm seeing, Ravens, Saints, Panthers, Eagles, Browns, Vikings. Those are all teams that have had good offensive lines, of late. The Bears would have been like the last team I would have expected to lead the league in that category through 3 weeks. But here we are. I think the first week in the slop that was Soldier Field against the Niners has aided those numbers. And we talked about it in week 2. We were fading what we saw in week 1 by betting on the Niners against the Seahawks. That turned out to be one of the better bets we've made this season. So maybe we, downgrade that number a little bit because week 1 was a bit of an anomaly. But still, Chicago, even if you take that away, still, relatively high up there in the standings with their offensive line play this year. That is a massive surprise for me. So Justin Fields really has no excuses. His offensive line's playing well. And he hasn't played a ton of really good defenses other than that Niners, game week 1. So I'm curious to see exactly what the Bears do in this spot. But man, it is really tough to trust Daniel Jones after what we saw not only this past Monday night, but in prior weeks. He continues to be a bottom 10 quarterback in the league. Completion percentage over expectation is down. The offensive weapons are there, but they just haven't clicked. Brian Daboll looks like he's competent right now calling plays, but when the trigger man is not, accurate and efficient, really hard to move the football.
I can see it's almost like you're choking it down to try to come up with a reason why you'd want to play this game. But maybe get back on that pass block win rate percentage for the Bears. I mean, think about it. Justin Fields' greatest weapon is his legs. Maybe these teams aren't trying to pass rush and they're playing more contain, so the offensive line doesn't have to see as many blitzes. They don't have to, they're not seeing nearly as much pressure. They're basically begging, Justin Fields, beat us with your arm. And he isn't. As a matter of fact, it feels like they're afraid to let Justin Fields go out there and make a play. And because of the mistakes that he makes. And then when he does make a mistake, they pull the reins back on this offense. You brought up a great point in the turnover percentage, just the win rate for what Justin Fields has done. Is this almost a game then where you would be looking at the under, which by the way is at 39.5? These teams don't score more than 19 points per game. Does the under entice you in any way?
Absolutely. And I meant to look that up. What the when the over when the total's under 40, if the over is a good bet or not. In primetime games, it tends to be. I think in 1 o'clock games, or if this game's at 4 o'clock, I would lean to the no. The Giants' offensive line has played better. The Giants look like Saquon Barkley's, healthy. And again, they've got some weapons on the outside. These are two of the most confounding quarterbacks in the league. I would say these two quarterbacks, and that's why I put the the note in the email I sent you guys about just the matchup with these two quarterbacks and their under expectation. I think these two quarterbacks, to me, are the two biggest flops so far in the league over the last couple of years. Now, I don't want to blame it all on Justin Fields. I know he's had some other issues around him. Daniel Jones, with the turnovers and just some of the brain farts that he's had throughout the course of his early stages of the career, and with Justin Fields, you're right. And you made a very good point. I love your angle on, the win rates are high because no one's really getting after him. They're daring him to throw the football. Now, at some point, you just have to say, all right, I'm going to just let her rip. We haven't seen that yet from the Bears offense. Maybe this is the week against a Giants secondary that at times has looked a little suspect. But at the end of the day, I trust what the numbers tell me over what my eyes tell me. The numbers tell me these two quarterbacks can't throw accurately. And until I see something to the contrary, very hard to bet an under or an over, excuse me.
Well, crazy enough, your eyes are telling you exactly what the stats are telling you as well. That's how he sees the Jets and the Giants game. Listen, it is better to not play a guess than to throw money around. Just remember, bet responsibly. For Jared Smith of Pickswise, I'm Steve Overmyer. This is Fanalysis.